This is going to be your consolidation video for Unit E, Lesson 3, Graphing y equals mx plus b. Let's look at this first question here. Describe the graph of this line. So to do this, we're going to kind of walk through what it would look like if we were to graph this thing and kind of just write our process down. So what does this line look like? We have this plus 4. Our y-intercept here is 4, and that kind of acts as our starting point. Our graph passes through the axis, if I could spell through the y-axis, at the point 0, 4, right? We for sure know one point on this line. This will kind of ground it. From here on out, we're using the rise and run to kind of get a better idea of what this line looks like. This line is going to, from this point, go up 3 and over to the right 4. From there, it goes up 3 and over to the right by 4. Right by 4. It'll continue that pattern forever, right? It'll kind of look like this. It'll be at 4, and then it'll go up 3 over 4. So kind of slightly like this. Not a very steep graph, but something like that. Write an equation of a line when m equals -2 and b equals 5. Well, if we have our y equals mx plus b, we are given the values of m and b. So m is -2, b is 5. And so we're just going to sub them in just like that. Maybe I'll do some highlighting here. -2, and then we have our 5. We're just going to input them right into our linear equation template. Okay, what are the slope and y-intercept of the graph to the right? This is something we did a lot in the previous unit when we were finding the rates of change in initial values of lines. But here, it's just slope and y-intercept. So y-intercept is usually a little bit more straightforward. It's just wherever the line crosses the axis. Here that happens at 4. Now the slope is rise over run. We can see this rise over run is already indicated in our question. The rise here is -2. The run is 3. So we have a slope of -2 over 3. And there you go. That's all you need to find the m and v values is the y-intercept and the rise and run. Explain how to make a graph for this line y equals 2x minus 3. We're going to walk through this almost like the first question, probably in a little bit more of a step-by-step basis though. So the first step of graphing any line is always identifying your y-intercept. Here, that's -3. So we want to plot the y-intercept at 0, -3. Right, that'll be kind of the starting point, the grounding point of our graph. Once we have that y-intercept plotted, we then can count squares based on the rise and run. So our rise and run here is 2, which is really 2 over 1, which means every time that we go up by 2, we're going to go over by 1. So we're going to count 2 boxes up, or maybe 2 units up is probably a better word to say. 2 units up and 1 unit over, and place a second dot there. We're going to place the next dot there. Right, that will be the next point on our graph is 2 units up, 1 unit over. And we're just going to say repeat step 2. Step 2 until you reach the end of your grid. The end of the grid. Okay, awesome. Right, because then we're just going to keep filling in points. We want to cover as much of the grid as possible, so we're going to keep going until we can't go anymore. Of course, that's only one side of our y-intercept, right? We ideally want to have both sides of our graph covered, and so we're also just going to work backwards on the left side. We're going to work backwards to extend the line, to the left of our y-intercept is 0, -3. All right. All right, and finally, question number 5. Make a sketch of this line, -2/3x plus 5. And we have all the tools we need to do this. Was this the first question too? Oh, no, it wasn't. So -2/3x plus 5, we're going to start by plotting our y-intercept at 5. Maybe we have to draw some ticks here. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's off. Okay, there we go. So our first point is at 5. Right, this is our y-intercept. This is where our graph more or less starts. It kind of anchors our graph a little bit. From there, we see that -2 is our rise, so we're going to go down 2, and 3 is our run. So we're going to go down 2, 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3. Our next point will be here. Then we'll go down 2, over 3. Our next point will be here. This is as far as our grid goes. Of course, we can continue this as much as we want. We'll also do one on the other side. Again, I don't really have a ton of room on this side, but it'll be something like this. And then you can make a line. That's a terrible line. You can make a line connecting those points like that. Right? You start at your y-intercept and use your rise over run to find more points from there. And that is your quick tutorial here of graphing using y = mx+b.